Beginning in version 6.3.0, SBXA offers advanced filtering and grouping capability in output grids. This tutorial will demonstrate how to filter inclusively and exclusively, and how to group. These techniques allow you to distill your data to quickly find what you are looking for in your multi-valued datasets. Note that you can only perform filtering and grouping in output grids, and that only the XUI clients offer this functionality. To perform filtering or grouping, you must first set the options in the field definition through the screen designer. For context, though, we will take a quick look at an output grid without filtering and grouping enabled. You can sort by ascending and descending order as you always could, and as of version 6.3.0, the server now tracks @count correctly as you sort grid contents. This enables drill downs that previously did not work correctly. To enable filtering and grouping, access your screen through the screen designer. Note, as has been documented in the SBXA documentation set, that you must be careful when saving your form in the screen designer. If you open the form in the XUI screen designer, change the field definition, and then save the form, your XUI form will be split from its GUI counterpart, and the XUI form may be rendered differently. If you do not want to create an XUI-only version of this form, use the GUI screen designer to change your settings. Because I am already working with an XUI-only form, I will make my changes in the XUI screen designer. Click the controlling multi-valued field and press F5 for field definitions. Click the controlling dependent read field and press the intuitive help key. Click the restrictions field and press the intuitive help key. Options L, O, and P were added at version 6.3.0. L is an inclusive filter, an AND filter. This is the kind of filtering I want to do. Save your field definition and your form, and exit the screen designer. Whether you set your filtering options in GUI or XUI, you must run the form in XUI in order to perform filtering. Now we can filter. Hover your mouse over the column header by which you wish to filter, and note the faint gray arrow on the right side of the column header. Click that arrow to begin filtering. In this instance, I want to filter first by number of doors. I only like 4-door cars. So I will click the filtering arrow in that column and select 4. I also could select 5 as well, or clear the filter if I chose. Click elsewhere on the form to hide the filter selection dialog box. Now my form is showing me only 4-door vehicles. I am still more selective, however, and that is why I chose the inclusive L filter. Not only do I want to narrow my search down to 4-door vehicles, but I also want to filter by color. I want 4-door vehicles, and only those that are red or white, so I will filter the color column as well. We see that my inclusive filter has given me only the vehicles that satisfy all of my selection criteria, 4-door vehicles in red or white. The exclusive OR filter, enabled by choosing option O in the field definition, behaves differently. It might suit me if I am slightly less particular. With option O now set instead of L, let's see how this works. Let us say that I still prefer 4-door vehicles, and I filter accordingly. And, as before, I prefer red and white vehicles. When I filter that column, I get a much larger list of vehicles than I received when using the L filter. In this case, the O filter has given me all of the vehicles that meet my door criteria, 4-door vehicles, or my color criteria, red and white vehicles. I now have a list of 13 vehicles that meet either my door criteria or my color criteria. Grouping provides a different way to distill the data in your grid. To enable grouping, set the P option for your controlling multi-value. After you set the P option, you notice immediately a new dark gray bar above your grid for grouping. In this instance, I know I have many vehicles with an engine size of 1800, but I want to see what kind of color distribution I have among vehicles of that engine size. So, I will drag the column header for engine size into the grouping area above the grid. Next, I will drag the color column header to the grouping area. And before I release the mouse, Note the blue bar on the right side of the engine size column header. With that bar on the right, if I release my mouse, the grid will be filtered first by engine size and then by color. If I drag the color header far enough to the left, the blue bar on the engine size header moves to the left, and if I then release the mouse, the grouping will happen first by color and then by engine size. But that's not what I want in this case, so I will move back to the right and release my mouse so that grouping happens first by engine size, because I'm really only interested in my vehicles with the 1800 engine, and then by color, so I can see the color distribution among the vehicles with that engine size. I have 6 blue vehicles in my specified engine size, and not many of any other color. Grouping this grid has shown me that most of my size 1800 vehicles are blue. You can sort columns while grouping, but you can only sort on one column at a time. To undo grouping, drag one or both column headers out of the grouping area and release the mouse.